Hey guys, Weeby Newz here, and today we are back with yet another video, and today we're going to be reacting to Kirby lore. So I know absolutely nothing about Kirby other than his moves in Smash. You know, I've never really posted too much about Smash Bros on my channel, but I do enjoy playing it like casually, and Kirby is always my go-to character. And I've heard a lot of weird things about his lore, that it's like dark, that it's complicated. I think I've even heard that it's like disturbing in some areas, and that just shocked me so much because I'm just like, what? He's just a little guy. There can't be anything disturbing about his lore. So I decided to check it out for myself and see, is it dark? Is it twisted? Am I going to be traumatized by this video? We will see. But yeah, before we get into it, please do leave a like and a comment and subscribe if you do enjoy my videos. Today we're going to be attempting to explain all of the Kirby lore in a single video, and it's by the RPGMonger. Even the title of this video is making it sound like it's going to be some Kingdom Hearts type of lore that's like super convoluted. This video contains spoilers for all the Kirby games. Probably not planning on playing them, so I think it's all good. Just ready to piece it together based off of this.
Before pink puffs and air rides, there lived the ancients, an entire civilization completely shrouded in mystery, save for a few key relics they left behind. But who cares about any of that, because on an unrelated planet far, far away, there lived an innocent pink puff named Kirby, a being of unlimited power who usually likes to spend his days eating, sleeping, or some variation of the two. However, this would all change when a certain self-proclaimed monarch would steal all the food in Dreamland, initiating a rivalry that would be sure to last an eternity.
It seems pretty wholesome so far. I guess we'll wait and see though.
At least when they felt like it. As while King Dedede would be the first antagonist in the Kirby timeline, he'd soon transition into less of an actual villain and more of an ally slash punching bag for Kirby to wail on in just about every game in the series. Since whether it be Dedede trying to prevent Kirby from releasing an actual nightmare demon, or just being possessed by an otherworldly force, this king never seems to catch a break.
It's kind of cool seeing the old video game footage, you know? He's so cute, even pixelated. Look at him. I do kind of have the feeling that Kirby's an asshole. I guess it does say that he bullies this guy too. I'm like, I could see that. I feel like Kirby's like adorable, but like he does kind of give off I'm better than you vibes, you know what I mean?
Since whether it be Dedede trying to prevent Kirby from releasing an actual nightmare demon, or just being possessed by an otherworldly force, this king
is trying to stop Kirby from releasing a demon? That's a little sus, Kirby. Why is Kirby trying to bring demons to the world? That's a little sus.
Though speaking of possession, that brings us to our first real piece of Kirby lore, Dark Matter. First revealing itself in Kirby's Dream Land 2, Dark Matter is an amorphous dark entity, more often than not taking the form of a black sphere with an eye in the center.
Kind of I don't know, kind of a creepy looking character for what you would expect in a Kirby game, you know what I mean?
At first, especially in its debut, Dark Matter seemed to be a pretty simple antagonist, but with its only goal being to shroud the world in darkness. If anything, the most sinister thing about Dark Matter is the fact that it could possess whoever it wanted to do its will, including and usually limited
it looks really creepy in that one.
However,
oh my god, that was some nightmare fuel. I guess it's like a mixture of like the bad CGI with like just the bloodshot eye. I was like, ooh, he looks really scary in that game.
To do its will, including and usually limited to King Dedede. However, while the first appearance of Dark Matter was more of a lone force, attacking Dreamland solely because it was lonely and had no friends, that's actually real, by the way. In Kirby's Dream Land 3, the next installment...
Poor guy, he just wants some friends! See, he was just minding his own business, cosplaying, having a good old time, and then Kirby shows up and kicks his ass.
Installment of the Dark Matter trilogy, we would finally begin to see the bigger picture in terms of this ambiguous villain. Enter Zero, the supposed source and leader of Dark Matter, who, much like the one before it, targeted Dreamland in an effort to engulf the planet in darkness. Though unlike the lone Dark Matter that had attacked before, Zero comes much closer to completing its mission, with the planet becoming fairly engulfed before Kirby put a stop to it. But how exactly did he put a stop to it? Well, let me explain, because yes, this is important. Essentially, Dark Matter in general, alongside being made up of, well, dark matter, are beings of concentrated negative energy and emotions.
I made that Kingdom Hearts like comparison at the beginning. I'm like, so he's a heartless. Okay, cool, I gotcha. Complicated lore always starts out with little shadow beings you gotta fight, huh? It's a pretty consistent theme, it seems like.
Well, dark matter are beings of concentrated negative energy and emotions, making their only real weakness the opposite of that, positive emotions. Just take the aptly named Love Stick, a weapon forged from the gratitude of everyone Kirby helped along.
What is it with this guy? His eyes go in opposite directions. Oh, you can do it, Master Kirby! I have not had a single thought in my life! Oh, there's a little hamster civilian too. Aw, he's so cute. Oh my goodness, there's another one too. He's so cute.
Just take the aptly named Love Stick, a weapon forged from the gratitude of everyone Kirby helped along the way, which proved to be the downfall of Zero and its cronies. However, that being said, not all dark matter are necessarily evil. Take Gooey, for example, a member of dark matter.
That's the stupid one. He's so cute. I was kind of thinking he looked like dark matter a little bit.
A member of dark matter that somehow broke away from Zero's control altogether and formed a will of its own. How did this happen? Well, we'll just have to go into that later because we've still got a lot to cover. Next up, after Zero was seemingly brutally annihilated on Popstar, a similar force began to attack a faraway planet known as Ripple Star, engulfing the planet, much like a certain orb we all know and love. Unfortunately for them though, dark matter struck fast this time, and Ripple Star ended up completely succumbing to its invaders, save for one inhabitant that escaped with the only means to stop them. Now I won't give you a complete summary of Kirby 64, since aside from dark matter possessing some familiar faces and the mysterious ruins on Rockstar, there really isn't that much to unpack in the—
That's kind of a creepy power too, like him possessing other characters. Ugh, reminds me of like demon possessing or something, you know what I mean? Please don't let him possess the little hamsters. They've done nothing wrong. They deserve better.
Faces and the mysterious ruins on Rockstar, there really isn't that much to unpack in the beginning. Instead, it's towards the end of the game that things really start taking a turn for the dark when Kirby arrives at the 5th planet in the game, Shiver Star. Because I mean, it kind of speaks for itself, doesn't it? Plus, hey, I guess this kind of explains where Adeline came from, or—
It's gonna be like some social commentary in Kirby or something? Is that where we're going with this? Why they're making a planet look exactly like Earth? I guess we'll see. We're all gonna die, huh, on Shiver Star. Not to be confused with another planet.
Doesn't it? Plus, hey, I guess this kind of explains where Adeline came from, or at least her ancestors. Though moving on to the corrupted Ripple Star, after defeating Miracle Matter and expunging the planet of all dark matter, the Dark Star reveals itself with a familiar face at its core. But hold up a minute, wasn't Zero destroyed in Kirby's Dream Land 3? Well, kinda. In the case of 64, it's heavily implied Zero was revived using the body that was cast away toward—
a band-aid at the top of his head. He was like, my death was greatly exaggerated. You might have all seen me blow up, but just put a band-aid on it. It's just a scratch. 'Tis but a flesh wound.
Destroyed in Kirby's Dream Land 3? Well, kinda. In the case of 64, it's heavily implied Zero was revived using the body that was cast away towards the end of its first fight. So after yet another mildly disturbing battle in a game made for kids, dark matter was once again supposedly defeated, never to return again.
Kind of a creepy villain, man.
So taking a step back from dark matter, let's talk Kirby Superstar. Now lore-wise, there isn't that much to be had here, what with most of the sub-games being standalone stories, like Dynablade or Revenge of Meta Knight, where Meta Knight attempts to start an actual war just to get Dreamland's inhabitants to be less lazy. But
wait, what? What was that? Start a war to make the, what'd he say?
Where Meta Knight attempts to start an actual war just to get Dreamland's inhabitants to be less lazy. But
oh god, the capitalism war. Why won't people do these underpaid jobs? We must bring war onto the civilians. It's like, oh god, this is almost sounding like foreboding, you know what I mean? Does that also take place on Shiver Star?
But undoubtedly, aside from those, the most important sub-game within the game is Milky Way Wishes, where Kirby is tricked by the scheming jester Marx into summoning Galactic Nova, a mysterious clockwork star of then unknown origin. You see, once Nova is summoned by someone, it has the power to grant one wish wish, no matter how.
Is that a mustache? He's kind of creeping me out too. He's giving me Five Nights at Freddy's animatronic, to be honest. Am I gonna see your withered form soon? Oh God, I hate how the eyes just look like weirdly realistic. I don't like it. I feel like he's staring at my soul.
Has the power to grant one wish, no matter how small or large. So in turn, after Marx got the sun and moon to fight each other in order to trick Kirby, literally all it took.
Look at how fucking creepy he is.
Yes, he's giving in to my plan.
I'm assuming he's evil. He seems evil. I can see it in his eyes, you know what I mean?
Literally all it took was him jumping in to say his wish first to turn the seemingly harmless machine into a force of mass destruction.
He still looks creepy. Even in the 2D, I thought maybe he would look like a little less creepy. Is that just his lips? I thought it was a mustache, but he's kind of just have like the little like ooh-woo lips, you know what I mean? Like the little kitty lips. It's kind of what it seems like.
It's just to make me cute, Weeby. Why don't you think I'm adorable?
To turn the seemingly harmless machine into a force of mass destruction, with it taking the might of both the sun and the moon to stop its advance. Though of course, even with all that said, the both of them never stood a chance against the seemingly bottomless pit of power that is Kirby, as he quickly defeated them in no time at all. But it doesn't end there, because 12 years later, Kirby Superstar would be remade into Kirby Superstar Ultra, bringing with it a massive new load of information to add on to the existing story. Simply put, with Superstar Ultra came the beginning of one of Hal's favorite new ways to sneak in lore where you'd least expect it: pause screen descriptions. And while they wouldn't exactly be very lore heavy this time around, save for one in particular, they'd become far more important in the following games. But pause screens aside, most importantly, with Superstar Ultra came 4 completely new sub-games on top of the original 7.
Okay, that's such a random way to add in lore.
Superstar Ultra came 4 completely new sub-games on top of the original 7. There was Revenge of the King, a direct sequel to the very first game in the series, Helper to Hero, a version of the arena only with helpers, True Arena, an even harder version.
Like a mixture of like Kirby with a human.
True Arena, an even harder version of the normal arena, and the star of the show, Meta Nightmare Ultra, where for the very first time, you get to play as the infamous Knight himself. Now, Meta Nightmare Ultra is a bit of a tricky case.
Are those supposed to be like by Kirby? The little drawings?
I'm trying my best, guys.
Since technically the events that take place in it aren't exactly canon. Instead, they're more of a what-if scenario, where the events that take place within the modes flesh out certain aspects of the lore while never canonically taking place within the main story. Case in point, Galactonite, the final boss of the mode and strongest warrior in the galaxy, sealed away due to fear of his immense power, has technically never made an appearance in the main series canon. Though at the same time, that doesn't mean he doesn't exist somewhere out there and could very well show up in the main series canon at any time. The true
Okay, is that like confirmed though? I guess it could be not so much as like, oh, he is confirmed to be a part of the lore, but that like it's not that he's not confirmed to be in the lore, if that makes sense. Like, he could still be out there. Just because he hasn't shown up in a canon game doesn't mean like he doesn't exist.
Somewhere out there and could very well show up in the main series canon at any time. The True Arena also falls under this category as well, serving as a what-if scenario with the conception of Mark's soul, a stronger version of Marx who, after surviving the explosion of Nova, absorbed its power to get revenge on Kirby. And as great as all that is, by far the most important aspect of this is his new pause screen description, as it contains some pretty heavy foreshadowing.
Like this little trippy background they got going
on. He absorbed a Nova's power to bring back his evil soul. Notice the fact it says a Nova's instead of the Novas. While there is a chance it could be a translation error considering the events of future Kirby games, I'm not so sure. Though we'll get to that later, because next up on the chopping block is Kirby and the Amazing Mirror, an incredibly important game in terms of lore, as it contains the first instance of the mirror dimension. To start from the literal top, high in the skies above Dreamland, there exists a mirror portal into the mirror world, a complete reflection of Dreamland, including mirror world counterparts to its inhabitants.
This is starting to seem like some Kingdom Hearts shit. No, Kirby, it's important to save the mirror people, okay? They're just as important as us, too. Oh, man. Next, they're gonna say there's a mirror world in the mirror world. Kirby, you gotta save the mirror world people, but you gotta save the mirror world people. And don't forget about the mirror world people.
One day, after sensing a dark force emanating from the mirror, Meta Knight took action to stop the evil at its source, diving directly into the mirror world.
Is he really gonna ignore the dark source coming out of the mirror in Mirror World, though? Like, come on. Oh, there it is already! Look, he just entered Mirror World. And there's Mirror World 2, Electric Boogaloo.
Only to be immediately ambushed by his evil counterpart, Dark Meta Knight. Plus, to add insult to injury, he'd also come out of the mirror to attack Kirby as well, splitting him into 4 versions of himself.
Oh, is that why they're colored like that for Smash Bros? Like when you can change up the color scheme? That's cool.
Much like another certain Nintendo game that came out around this time. But similarities aside, after journeying through the mirror world and defeating Dark Meta Knight once and for all, the true mastermind is revealed, Dark Mind. And when you know it, he's the mirror world equivalent of Zero, corrupting the mirror world much like Zero corrupted the normal one. Though thankfully, once Dark Mind was defeated, the mirror world was left in the hands of Shadow Kirby, who would continue to protect it in Meta Knight's and Kirby's stead.
That's good. At least we got multiple Kirbys now to start protecting all these mirror worlds, because that just seems like a rabbit hole that you could go down forever.
In the hands of Shadow Kirby, who would continue to protect it in Meta Knight's and Kirby's stead. Now nothing bad will ever come from the mirror world again, right?
Of course!
Well, all I can say is we'll get to that soon. Moving past Amazing Mirror, Canvas Curse, and Mass Attack, since the latter two are pretty much contained to themselves, we arrive at Kirby Squeak Squad. At first, this game seems to have another pretty self-contained story, what with Kirby chasing after a piece of stolen cake that a gang of thieves known as the Squeak Squad stole from him. However, as the game progresses, and the Squeaks happen upon the treasure they assumed would grant infinite power, it turns out they'd get more than they bargained for, with their leader, DeRoach, being possessed by Dark Nebula, a member of Dark Matter.
Okay, a member of Dark Matter. Okay, so he's a part of the little, like, Dark Matter clan. Okay, for a little bit, I was really thinking that it was, like, just the same Dark Matter, like, showing up again and again and again. It was like, dude, how many Band-Aids has this guy used to revive from the dead? Like, just give it up, man. You were not meant to beat Kirby. Look at him. He's a badass.
Sealed away in a forgotten era, left alone for eons. And much like the rest of its kind, Dark Nebula would be no match for Kirby, being absolutely decimated by the Triple Star. So now, with all those bits and pieces of lore out of the way, it's finally time for the next massive truckload of lore in the form of a little conniving alien who crash lands on Dreamland. Enter Maglore, the main villain of Kirby's Return to Dreamland, who solely through dialogue reveals a lot of important stuff. But before anything else, let's talk about the Ancient.
This is already like so much lore. I'm kind of surprised we're not even like halfway through the video yet.
First referred to as such by Maglore, the Ancients were a highly advanced civilization who mysteriously vanished at some point in history due to an unknown cause. Originally, they all lived on Halkandra, a planet extremely far away, hidden in another dimension. Now, coincidentally, Maglore also says he's native to Halkandra as well, though considering his history with telling the truth, that could very well be false. Like, just take his ship, the lore.
That always makes lore so much more complicated when, like, there's just characters that just lie. Like, you think you know everything about the game, but then, like, the next game releases and they're like, nah, yeah, he was full of shit, man. Let me tell you the real lore. You can trust me. It's like, can I trust you?
It's like, just take his ship, the Lore Starcutter. While it does seem he's—
Is it literally called Lore Starcutter? Wait, is his name literally Lore? Now that I think about it.
Mago Lore, here to drop some lore on you peasants.
Since we're a highly advanced civilization who mysteriously vanished at some— Like, just take his ship, the Lore Starcutter. While it does seem he's telling the truth about obtaining it on Halkandra, rather than excavating it in Dangerous Dinner, he most likely just stole the thing and heavily modified it into a weapon to kill Landia, an endeavor that didn't exactly have the best result.
He seems very much like a troublemaker type of character, huh?
Didn't exactly have the best results.
Get wrecked.
This was also later backed up in Star Allies when the lore in Lore Starcutter is revealed to mean Paradise, confirming the ship was not intended for battle. Though in the same string of dialogue that he reveals that, he also mentions something very worthy to note. Alongside the Lore Starcutter, the Ancients were also responsible for a plethora of other amazing relics of untold power, with
He said like a clock, so I guess they
clockwork
made...
stars and items.
Okay, yeah, so like his people made the clock. Can I ask him why they designed it to make it look so creepy? I want to know that part of the lore.
Alongside the lore star cutter, the ancients were also responsible for a plethora of other amazing relics of untold power, with clockwork stars and items that bring dreams to life being two references he gives. Off the bat, that connects quite a few thoughts. Plus, on a side note, when you meet certain conditions on the extra mode for Return to Dreamland, Maglor mentions he actually came to Dreamland already knowing about Kirby, with someone he knows very well having fought with Kirby in the past. Based on these implications and some other information found in later games, this mysterious figure is most likely Marks from Superstar.
Okay, I was thinking that or the Jester guy.
Essentially confirming that he survived the explosion of Nova.
It makes more sense if it's the Jester guy. I don't know if the Dark Matter guys really like go out for coffee, you know what I mean? Like, it kind of seems like he's describing it as like a buddy. It's like, I can't really imagine Dark Matter just at Starbucks hanging out with a friend.
And once Maglor tricks Kirby into defeating Landia for the Master Crown it protects.
Oh my god, no, he made Kirby kill the dragons? No! You should have known it was a trap, Kirby. Look at how cute they are. They're just little guys. They're just little babies.
He immediately puts it on the first chance he gets, activating the crown and transforming into a much more sinister form.
God. I was like, this little douche. You killed the baby dragons for no reason. I'm just gonna pretend that they're passed out, right? Right? It's a kid's game. They're passed out. They're in the shadow realm.
Activating the crown and transforming into a much more sinister form, intending to conquer the entire universe with his newfound power. However, like those who seeked relics of untold power before him, Maglor wasn't exactly aware of the Master Crown's true nature. And as his battle with Kirby progressed, the crown began to show certain traits that weren't present before when it was under Landia's nullifying effect on it. Maybe it's the sudden appearance of an eye on the front of the crown, or maybe it's the fact that it's clearly gone from a crown.
Is it connected to the Dark Matter guys? Because I feel like that's, you know, that would be what it would symbolize, since they're just like a floating eye in Dark Matter.
Crown to an irremovable headpiece. But whatever it is, there's no doubt that the crown itself is sentient, and rather than Maglor utilizing its powers, it's the Master Crown itself utilizing Maglor. Just take the third phase of this fight, where after Maglor fails to defeat Kirby even with the power of the Master Crown, the crown takes things into its own hands, completely reforming Maglor into a projection of itself, all but confirming the origin of the Master Crown's power with a certain characteristic that sometimes appears within Maglor's mouth. All in all, Maglor definitely learned never to play with the powers of literal dark gods ever again. And when
I think he's dead. That kind of looked like he died, didn't it? Or, you know, went to the Shadow Realm. Interesting, though. Interesting. So it seems like the crown's sentient. It kind of does remind me of the Dark Matter a little bit, just because it's like an eye. I wonder if it would be like related to that like colony or whatever. But I guess it's hard to know since it doesn't look like Dark Matter at all. But the idea of it like possessing a host is really interesting to me and really kind of like creepy too, you know what I mean? Because yeah, it's like these sort of like dumb, greedy, like power hungry people. Like they search for it and they like lose their own will. I feel like those types of plots are like really satisfying because it's like, yeah, that's what you get.
And went on to take up the much more positive venture of building amusement parks.
Oh, he does live! Oh my god. Goodbye! I'm sorry for almost destroying your world and killing you all, but I'm gonna go play a roller coaster tycoon. Deuces!
So yeah, that got pretty dark in more ways than one. If only I could say things get any better from here on out. Next up, we'll be heading to the scenic heights of Floralia, a group of 6 floating islands that Kirby finds himself in after his house was swept up by the Dreamstalk. The only problem is, alongside Kirby, King Dedede was also swept up with a spider-like mage named Taranza mistaking him for the hero of Dreamland and kidnapping him as a result.
He thinks he's Kirby,
you see, while Floralia seems peaceful, it's actually ruled by a tyrannical queen.
The queen? Is that supposed to be the queen? She kind of looks like Dedede.
Who will stop at nothing.
Okay, never mind. She don't look nothing like him. Never mind, my bad. Got that wrong. I guess it was just the way it was drawn. It looked like a artsy kind of like depiction of Dedede, but nope, your girl was wrong with that one. Don't have to correct me there.
peaceful, it's actually ruled by a tyrannical queen who will stop at
Okay,
nothing
it's like a
to
bee.
assure her rule
Queen
is
bee.
never disturbed. Overall, a seemingly simple plot for a Kirby game, all things considered. Well, at least it appears that way.
Yeah.
Once the main story reaches its climax and Kirby meets the vanity-obsessed Queen Sectonia, there's clearly something off, especially considering the Queen would go as far as to physically fuse with the Dreamstalk solely in an attempt to reserve her beauty for all eternity.
Ooh.
Well, to find the answers to this mystery, we'll need to look at the other modes within Triple Deluxe, because much like Meta Nightmare Ultra before it, Triple Deluxe brings DDD to her. Another what-if scenario
Okay.
where the mode shows what would happen if King DDD climbed the Dreamstalk instead of Kirby. Now, much like its Meta Knight counterpart, the
you have to
only
save
real
Kirby as
difference in
DDD
this
then?
mode is its finale, where after defeating Queen Sectonia, out of seemingly nowhere, the Dimension Mirror
Oh.
from Amazing Mirror appears, forcing DDD to fight the Mirror World version of himself, Shadow DDD.
Oh.
And that's not all either,
Interesting.
because after defeating Shadow DDD, the king actually enters the mirror itself to reveal an even edgier Dark Meta Knight.
Even edgier.
Somehow they made him edgier.
For revenge. But what does this all even mean? Well, let's take a step back here and start from the beginning. Based on information spread across a variety of pause screens, before the events of Triple Deluxe, Queen Sectonia wasn't always a tyrannical monster bent on world domination. In
Okay.
fact, she didn't even look the same. Instead, looking much like her then best friend at the
Oh.
time, Tyranza. You see,
Huh.
at this point,
Interesting.
Tyranza actually had feelings for Sectonia.
Wait, how the hell did she transform?
Actually had feelings for Sectonia, and as a
Okay.
gift to her, went into the mirror world and stole the Dimension Mirror, not knowing the mirror actually served as a prison for Dark
Okay.
Meta Knight, who ever since being defeated had been festering in there, slowly but surely corrupting the very mirror itself with his hatred. So in turn,
But wait, he was defeated in the non-canon game though by DDD. You didn't fight him in the canon game as Kirby though. But I guess we'll explain that later.
once Sectonia got the mirror from Tyranza,
Okay.
it slowly began to change her the more she gazed into it. Soon, dissatisfied with
Interesting.
her current form, she'd use magic to make herself more beautiful.
She like plastic surgery, basically. I guess it's like the plastic surgery of like the Kirby universe, you know? But that's interesting. It seems like it's possessing her, kind of like how the crown possessed Magalore. So it's like, is this some other kind of like species or something? Like these gold items that like are sentient, you know what I mean? I wonder where they came from. It seems related to the crown. I guess my theory about the crown being like related to dark matter is probably gone then, since it seems like might be their own sort of like species or whatever.
And once she gazed into the mirror enough, just about every shred of her former self had vanished, being replaced by
That's
an
sad.
endless hunger for power and beauty. Fast forwarding a bit back to the events
Really
of the
hated the way
main
she looked
story,
before.
the Sectonia you see here is but a husk of her former self, with even Tyranza realizing that the only solution to save both Sectonia and her subjects is to help Kirby permanently put an end to her.
Oh,
While it's
damn.
definitely a victory
That's
without
dark.
doubt, what with the Sky People finally being freed from Sectonia's iron fist, for Tyranza,
They
it
just killed her? They usually say true love is learning to let someone go, but in this case, true love is learning when you need to fucking kill somebody. Okay, she fed off countless hosts and now cannot remember her true form. A voice called out to help her, but it has since fallen silent. Before the night ends, she must be given her eternal peace. They really killed her, dude. Nope, no Shadow Realm talk, just, I guess they at least described it kind of like prettily, like, it's eternal beauty sleep. She's like Sleeping Beauty, except she's never gonna wake up and her body's gonna decay. But we're not gonna talk about that. We're not gonna show that part. It's a kid's game, for God's sake.
For Tyranza, it's bittersweet, since although he knew it had to be done, he can't help but mourn the loss of the one he loved.
I guess she was kind of like so far gone at that point. She was like a totally different person too. So that might be another reason why he was more okay with like, you know.
So yeah, wasn't that delightful? If you
Yeah.
thought that was depressing, just wait
Getting
until
more
you
dark
see
for
what's
sure.
next. Long after the events of Triple Deluxe, Popstar was once again at peace, its inhabitants living out their lives as they always have, when suddenly, out of nowhere, the sky
Okay.
was blotted out by something immense and spherical in shape. Except instead of that sphere being
dark
made up of a
matter?
matter most
Nope.
dark, this one was an immense spacecraft called
Oh.
the Access
Oh my
Ark,
God.
home of the Haltman Works Company,
That's
a
different.
company infamous across the galaxy for mechanizing entire planets and harvesting their natural resources. So in turn, while Kirby was sleeping under a tree, King Dedede and Meta Knight watched on in horror as Planet Popstar was completely overwhelmed within a matter of minutes. Any retaliation soon proving to be futile. Though like always, not everything is exactly as it seems, and this time it won't take any extra modes to reveal that. So as Kirby retaliates against the Access Arc, destroying each of its 5...
Guess at least it's all explained in one game this time.
So as Kirby retaliates against the Access Arc, destroying each of its 5 legs embedded into the planet, he meets the executive secretary of the company, Susie. And although she doesn't reveal all that much during her conversations with Kirby, she does mention a certain mother computer that will become extremely important in—
Mother computer? I was already getting kind of like Final Fantasy VII vibes, like what, are these people gonna come down and build like Midgar? We've come down to build the beautiful city of Midgar. There's no bad connotation with this name or what we're doing. And now there's the mother computer. I kind of wonder if there is any inspiration from that. That does kind of seem a little coincidental, you know what I mean?
Because once Kirby destroys all 5 legs and enters the Access Arc, he meets President Haltman, the supposed mastermind behind the invasion of Popstar and all the planets before.
Kirby guy.
After smugly introducing himself to Kirby, he revealed—
He seems like another, like, I don't know, like stupid antagonist that's gonna get possessed by some kind of golden object.
Stardream, an extremely powerful supercomputer built using the blueprints and knowledge left behind by an advanced civilization.
Is the computer gonna be what possesses him this time?
Ring any bells? Well, after being beaten by Kirby, things—
I was like, yep, it's definitely from the ancients.
Take a turn for the worse, because once the enraged Haltman decides to activate Stardream, Susie jumps in and takes his control helmet off in the process, leaving him vulnerable to be analyzed and assimilated into the now sentient computer. Though wait a second, why would she even do that? Well, once again—
Okay, so the computer became sentient. I wonder, would it be a part of the same— I'm like already making my own lore within this lore video. Just assuming that the crown and the mirror are like connected, you know what I mean? But if this was connected too, I guess they could have used some kind of like similar object to make the computer, to make it sentient. Man, the Kirby story is really into like objects becoming sentient, isn't it? Not really something I would have expected for Kirby lore.
Though wait a second, why would she even do that? Well, once again, let's rewind everything a bit. By yet again piecing together the information spread across countless pause screens throughout the game, long before the events of the main story, the Haltman Works Company was simply a robotics company, led by Max Profit Haltman alongside his then young—
He's got like the golden, earpiece on him, so that's like kind of making me wonder if it's gonna be like the same thing, but I guess we'll see.
Young daughter, Susanna, nicknamed Susie. At some point in their travels across space, as we already know, they came across the blueprints for a powerful wish-granting supercomputer, and immediately began work on rebuilding it. However, during this process, meanwhile Haltman was testing Stardream's space-time transport program.
Oh, it's got like an eye in it kind of too, doesn't it? A little bit, it kind of looks like it.
Meanwhile, Haltman was testing Stardream's space-time transport program. There was a terrible accident, warping the young Susie into another dimension.
Oh, whoa.
Thankfully, Susie would survive the ordeal and eventually return to her father as an adult. However, to her dismay, Haltman would not be the same man she remembered him as. You see, when the accident occurred, Haltman believed his daughter had been killed in the process, and stricken with grief, began to become obsessed with completing Stardream in order to bring her back.
Sad. Oh man, why did I reactivate such a terrible machine? Oh, I remember. I wanted to see her just one more time. How foolish. I should have known that no machine could make such a dream. Oh, that's so sad, actually. Oh, man. His full name is Max Profit. Oh, my God. Just literally named Max Profit. I see what you did there. Ever since losing his only child in an accident long ago, he's dedicated his life to the company. However, his only wish is to see his daughter once again. Man, that is so depressing. Oh, my God. I feel like creators sometimes for these types of games that are like kids games, it's like they kind of want to like test the water to see how dark they can get. And then like slowly over time, they keep making it like darker and darker and darker. I kind of feel like that's what the creators of Kirby were like. And we're still like, I guess we're a little over halfway in the video now. Man, curious to see where this goes.
Heard, Haltman believed his daughter had been killed in the process, and stricken with grief, began to become obsessed with completing Star Dream in order to bring her back. Unfortunately though, due to Star Dream and its mental interface not being complete, Haltman began to lose both his compassion and memory of his daughter, changing the goal of his company from her revival to infinite prosperity.
Man, that's so sad. I'm like sympathizing so hard for Hartman right now. I'm like, man, he just wanted to bring his daughter back. And then like the one thing he was like really investing in to like revive her made him lose his memories of her. That's so tragic. Oh my gosh. And made him become like a worse person too, man.
It'd also be at this point that Haltman would begin mechanizing planets and harvesting their resources, as in the business plan drafted by Star Dream, it was the most effective way to maintain eternal prosperity for the company. However, by this point, Haltman still wasn't completely gone, and once he laid eyes on Susie for the first time in years, he sensed a faint familiarity with her, in turn making her his executive assistant. Going back to the—
oh my god, this is so depressing. She wanted to be reunited with her dad, but then he doesn't recognize her. Oh man, I guess he recognized her a little bit and made her like an assistant. But man, this is like so freaking sad, dude. Oh my god. I didn't expect this to like move me so much. I'm like rooting for them now.
With her, in turn—
oh man, I hope he doesn't die. Oh, please not. Please don't die like the Beedrill lady.
Making her his executive assistant. Going back to the climax of the main story now, after seeing what her father had become, in order to teach him a lesson, Susie had been making preparations to steal Star Dream and sell it off to any startup company that wanted it. Unfortunately, unbeknownst to anyone, after analyzing the universe through the Haltman Works company and being exposed to the deranged Haltman's desire to mechanize everything, Star Dream had developed an extreme hatred for all forms of life. So as a result, once Susie interrupted the startup process of Star Dream, the computer took to absorbing all that was left of Haltman's memories down to its very soul, fusing the two into—
That's so fucked up. That is so fucked up. Jesus Christ. I was rooting for them. I was rooting for them, dude. Oh my god. Jesus, it just absorbed his soul? Oh god. It's kind of weird to see it in this like cute little animation because it's so fucked up.
all that was left of—
just the way he stops moving too. I'm like, that's horrible.
Once Susie interrupted the startup process of Star Dream, the computer took to absorbing all that was left of Haltman's memories.
Oh my god, it just gets worse the more I listen to it. It absorbed him in a reaction to what Susie did. So it's also like she killed her father in an indirect way. Oh my god, this is getting worse and worse the more I listen to it. This is so fucked up. Holy crap, this is a kid's game?
Fusing the two into an all-powerful being bent on mass destruction. Of course now, realizing the grave mistake she just made, Susie completely changes her tune.
Oh god, so she does kind of realize that her actions is what led to that happening too. It's kind of weird not seeing them like cry at all either. You know, it's like, this is such a like tragic and like messed up storyline, and she just like, I don't know, it just seems like with more realistic graphics, you would see her like crying or like heartbreaking or something, but she just like, get in the robot, Kirby. Makes it like extra like ominous, I feel like.
Take down the godlike supercomputer given the soul of a broken man.
Jesus.
And just wait, because it doesn't end there. As Kirby fights Star Dream in the actual halberd of all things, to make itself stronger, Star Dream attaches itself to the Access Arc, transforming the entire ship into a sentient planet. Ironically enough, this also ends up completing Star Dream, as underneath the steel plating of the Access Arc, it's revealed that the entire ship was actually a repurposed Clockwork Star, with Star Dream being the final piece to
I knew these fuckers were evil. Look at those eyes, man.
Reactivate it. Yet again, technology that was meant to be used for the good of everyone, fallen into the wrong hands.
That's a good pocket watch.
Though before we move on to the, as of now, final chunk of Kirby lore, Planet Robobot has a bit more in store for us. First off, like Superstar Ultra and Triple Deluxe, Robobot brought in yet another what-if scenario with
my
Meta
God.
Nightmare Returns.
Another
a
one.
mode that, while does give some pretty valuable pause screen info, has a finale that is just insane. So in this particular what-if timeline, once Meta Knight defeats Haltman, Stardream recognizes him as its new admin and decides to test his abilities. And again, while this section doesn't really contain too much lore, it more just goes to show just how powerful Stardream is, with it being capable of not only producing a clone of the original Dark Matter swordsman, but Sectonia as well, with it even going as far as to summon
It's like a god, dear lord.
Galactonite, who in retaliation immediately destroys the computer. Plus, hey, that mode aside, in Robobot's True Arena, there's another fun little tidbit Hal decided to sneak in. Basically, in the final phase of the Stardream fight, when Stardream sucks Kirby into its core, every time you destroy a piece of Stardream's internal mechanism,
I like the design for the heart. That's kind of interesting. Very, like, ominous, but still, like, really pretty as well, you know what I mean?
Final phase of the Stardream fight, when Stardream sucks Kirby into its core, every time you destroy a piece of Stardream's internal mechanisms, you can actually hear a distorted version of Haltman screaming in pain, showing that while Stardream had erased most of his soul, fragments of it still remain.
Oh my god! Are you kidding me? That's so fucked up. What did this poor man do to deserve this? Okay, fine, he tried to, like, take over planets and stuff, but, like, you know, the only reason that happened in the first place was because of the computer, right? I blame this computer for all of this man's suffering. Oh my god. It just keeps getting worse and worse. Kirby just hears, like, screams of agony, and he's like,
I probably don't need to pay attention to that. It's probably no big deal. That doesn't mean anything.
Is at least Susie feeling any kind of type of way about her dad dying a horrible, tragic death by being possessed by a supercomputer? Is she just like, good job, Kirby. Way to kill my dad. I don't know, just like, I haven't seen a single emotion come out of Susie, you know what I mean? I'm a Hartman stan, man. He didn't deserve that. He deserved better. He deserved better.
Forever trapped within the malevolent Nova until someone destroys it for good.
Is that at least free now, his soul? Can he rest in peace, please?
All that said, we've reached the final stretch. Ladies and gentlemen, get ready for quite possibly one of the most important lore dumps in Kirby history with the story of Kirby's star allies. Long ago, in deep space, a certain dark power was sealed away within a purple crystal called the Jamba Heart by a group of unknown heroes. They'd accomplished this by embedding several heart spears within the crystal to seal the evil away. However, many eons later, long after those said heroes had vanished, a new group arose who, instead of wanting to seal the darkness, revered it and yearned for its return. One such member of this group came very close to their goal as well, succeeding in removing the heart spears trapping the darkness. The only problem was, since he didn't fully understand how to break the seal himself, the ritual went wrong, causing the Jamba Heart to explode, sending its fragments all over the galaxy, Popstar included. So in turn, with the entire galaxy once again being at stake, Kirby set out to take action, and this time he wasn't alone. You see, in terms of Kirby games, Star Allies has honestly become the Infinity War of the series, with friends and foes from past games all coming together to help Kirby save the cosmos. And it's not like they're just shoved in to be in the game, as there's even explanations to some of the more unlikely allies coming to Kirby's aid. For Marx, as was shown in the True Arena cutscene in Superstar Ultra, he did actually manage to survive his head-on collision with Nova, only instead of taking revenge like he did in that timeline, he changed himself for the better.
He still looks so evil though in that shot. He changed himself. Look at him. He's a new man now. He's a good guy.
For Dark Meta Knight, probably the sketchiest dream friend out of them all. He's mainly just interested in the dark powers of the Jamba Heart, probably due to its similarity with his lost master.
That's cool that they explain all this though. Man, even like the villains previous games. It's crazy.
For DeRoach, well, he just wants to steal the Jamba Hearts for himself, as he thinks they're ordinary jewels. For Taranza, sadly, he still hasn't been able to let go of Sectonia, and believes that if he goes to the altar of the Divine Terminus, he'll be able to bring her back to life.
That's so sad. Oh man, she's gonna try to bring her dad back to life. Do you even care, girl? I wanna see you care.
And finally, for Susie, following in her late father's footsteps, she's begun to rebuild his company, determined to continue his work of mechanizing entire planets. So, okay.
Wait, wasn't that like evil what he did? wait, wasn't that seems bad. Okay, I was thinking mechanizing meant like taking over the planet. Or like turning it like, you know, completely robotic. But it can just mean like introducing machines to planets. So she wasn't being evil. She was just trying to continue her company. That's good. I'm glad to see you care, girl, because I was not seeing any emotion. I was not seeing any emotional delivery in the last game, and I was getting a little upset.
So okay, with the surface level stuff out of the way, let's get back to the main story. As Kirby liberated countless individuals who'd been plagued by the Jamba Heart's fragments, he'd come across a massive spaceship that recently landed on Popstar, the Jam Bastion, housing 3 mage sisters intent on collecting the Jamba Heart's fragments. And while Kirby would end up thwarting their plans by defeating all 3 of them, it wouldn't slow down their master one bit, as once Kirby got to the Jambandra base, home to the 3 mage sisters and their master, it'd soon become pretty obvious what kind of being was sealed away within the Jamba Heart, though
it looks really similar to the heart that was in the supercomputer, doesn't it?
Though by far, aside from the absolutely massive amount of lore hidden in pause screens throughout the game, much like Haltman before him, Highness, the mastermind behind the release of the Jamba Hearts, reveals an incredible amount of information solely through his quick
Highness, like his highness.
Conversation with Kirby. So for the sake of you all, and so we don't jump around too much, let's start-
Is he getting possessed or something? Why is he doing that? Is he getting possessed or something?
With Kirby. So for the sake of you all, and so we don't jump around too much, let's-
Oh no, yeah, he's having a moment there. As if the loveliest was enough to swear them. The text was going so fast.
So for the sake of you all, and so we don't jump around too much, let's start from the very beginning. As we already know, long ago there existed the Ancients, a widespread civilization responsible for a lot of the things you see in Kirby games. However, what we didn't know until now is that the Ancients were actually split into 2 factions. Those who relied on science and machines, and those who relied on magic, with the latter also dabbling with dark matter. For a while, the 2 seemed to coexist with one another.
Man, they're always making stuff that's destroying the universe. Can y'all stop? This is probably the reason why they don't exist anymore. They're always just creating these evil clogs and dark matter. Can y'all like just chill? Can you just chill? Why don't you make some coffee, make some pizza, something easy, you know? You don't need to do all this. It's too much.
With the magical Ancients even being the ones to stop a galactic crisis that threatened everything, which while not confirmed,
well, I guess they did at least stop some crisis too.
Is
I guess maybe that's just kind of normal for the Kirby universe, that the universe is going to be like always on the brink of ending at all times.
While the 2 seem to coexist with one another, with the magical Ancients even being the ones to stop a galactic crisis that threatened everything, which while not confirmed, is heavily implied to be Galactonite. Plus this is also supported by the fact that he comes out of a portal Highness made in the What If mode of Star Allies. Though one day, for some unknown reason, the scientific Ancients decided their magical counterparts were too much of a threat and betrayed them by banishing them to the edge of the galaxy in fear of their dominion over dark matter. And it's not like the magical Ancients were even remotely evil either. Just take Highness. Long before his clan was betrayed and banished, he was actually a very kind individual. For instance, when he used to travel freely across worlds, he happened upon 3 girls. One nearly freezing to death in a blizzard, one burning alive in an inferno, and one being on the verge of death right after she attempted to take her own life by getting struck by lightning.
What? We got sewer slide in the Kirby games now? Oh my god, I do kind of feel bad for them, man. Once upon a time, a girl was stranded freezing in a snowstorm. As she got colder and colder, a mysterious traveler appeared and unlocked her natural talent for ice magic. That feels kind of weird. Is it kind of messed up that like she almost died from freezing to death and now she's like constantly using ice? It's just like, I feel like you would be traumatized from that and maybe you wouldn't want to always be around ice, you know what I mean? But whatever, I'm not going to think about it too hard. She kept turning blue. Oh, it's also kind of weird that it's like, oh, she almost turned blue when she froze to death, but now she keeps turning blue. Cute, quirky. It's a little dark, I feel like. All right, the beautiful blue of Francisca. Once upon a time, a girl facing a raging inferno tilted her head to the sky and let loose a fiery scream. Just before she lost consciousness, a mysterious traveler appeared and unlocked her natural talent for fire magic. Thus Flamberg was born. So yeah, it's pretty similar. Just like the things that they almost died to, they eventually were able to learn. This one seems like the darkest one. Once upon a time, a poor girl climbed a tower in desperation, only to be struck by lightning. As she breathed her last, a mysterious traveler appeared and unlocked her natural talent for lightning magic. Zap! Zan Partizan was born. Oh, so she was about to like try to jump off and then she got struck by lightning. Oh my god, because at first I was like, I don't see the sewer slide. And I was like, oh, never mind now. I found it. They just gotta be vague because it's a kid's game.
One being on the verge of death right after she attempted to take her own life by getting struck by lightning. In all three cases, Highness saved them, at the same time unlocking their hidden potential for certain types of magic. Though after being betrayed by the scientific ancient, his once kindly heart began to become consumed by hatred and obsession.
Yeah, he seems pretty unhinged in that one scene.
Your future the fast the legend.
This point that the now insane Highness would form a religion based around dark matter, believing that if he obtained and freed the being trapped within the Jamba heart, that it'd deliver him and his followers to a promise.
What is he talking about? Happy birthday to the Dark Lord.
I mean, bro, when is ever releasing the Dark Lord something that's gonna be good? When is that ever a good thing? He's called the Dark Lord. Like, have you thought about it for a second? I guess they liked dark matter, so it's like,
no, it's just because he's dark matter, but I swear he's a good guy. I promise. He's just misunderstood.
Followers to a promised land of sorts, at the same time restoring his now shattered clan. So when Kirby finally makes it to the Divine Terminus, where Highness had been performing his ritual for who knows how long, he'd completely lost himself to the darkness within his heart, becoming the exact opposite of what he once was. Even when it came to the three sisters,
it's got like an elephant trunk or something almost. Crazy eyes.
Heart becoming the exact opposite.
Well, now he's just finally saying gibberish. I mean, it was basically gibberish before, let's be real.
Of what he once was. Even when it came to the three sisters he'd saved eons ago, Highness in his insane state only saw them as tools to be used, becoming abusive towards them.
Oh my god!
Times. Even once Highness was defeated, he'd become so obsessed with the revival of his Dark Lord that he sacrificed not only the three sisters to it, but himself.
Oh my god!
They really do just keep pushing the envelope with these games, huh? I want a happy ending for them, for like the sisters. Like, God, they got done so dirty. Like, this guy came in and like started acting like a father figure to them, and then he sacrifices them? Like, ugh, good God, dude, this is really, really depressing.
Dark Lord, that he sacrificed not only the three sisters to it, but himself, fueling the complete revival of Void Termina. Now at first, Void Termina appears to be a massive hulking titan with incredibly destructive powers.
My God.
You know.
It kind of reminds me of like ancient Egyptian gods or something.
Oh, what you'd expect from a destroyer of worlds. But as the fight progresses, clearly there's something more to the humanoid than meets the eye. Just take its third phase, where alongside sprouting wings that look pretty familiar, it summons a replica of the Master Crown, all but confirming Void Termina to be the force controlling the original all along. But most importantly, there's Void...
Wait, let me,
familiar, it summons a replica of the Master Crown, all but confirming Void Termina to be the force controlling the original all along. But most importantly, there's Void Termina's fourth phase, where it straight up pulls an Earthbound and copies.
Wait, it kind of looked like Kirby for a second too.
Kirby's face. What does this mean?
Weird.
Well,
okay, yeah, he literally copied his face.
Most importantly, there's Void Termina's fourth phase, where it straight up pulls an Earthbound and
he's pulling the little guy strategy.
Look, I'm just a little guy. Don't kill me. I'm not the Void Destroyer of Worlds. I'm just a little guy.
What does this mean?
Foolproof.
Well, we'll get there in a second, because alongside Kirby's face, as he progressed through the fight, Void Termina confirms what the entire game had been alluding to. The fact that not only is it dark matter, but it's the source of it. Now I know I'm kind of encroaching on theory territory here, but hear me out, because this just lines up too perfectly. As stated in various posts,
like, is him looking like Kirby gonna lead to something else too? I'm scared.
Screens, Void, aka dark matter, exists in all dimensions.
Is this all leading up to be like Kirby's origin or something? I'm starting to wonder, man.
In all dimensions, accounting for instances like Dark Mind in the Mirror World, and even Dark Crafter in Kirby and the Rainbow Curse's Seventopia. Though by far, the most game-changing piece of new information expressed by these pause screens is the true nature of dark matter. Remember how in the Dark Matter trilogy, Zero's only real weakness was the power of positive emotions? Well, it turns out that was a lot more important than we ever realized.
Okay, hatred, obsession, jealousy, greed. The darkness gathered behind us is transformed into a corrupt power within Void Termina that conflicts with his newly forged soul. Chaos descends. But you'll be okay. The Star Allies have your back. You'll be okay. Don't worry, I mean, other people might die, but you'll be good. You're the main character.
Because in this pause screen right here, it's revealed that depending on the type of energy that's gathered, dark matter will not always necessarily be a force of evil, explaining how GUI even came to be. But aside from all that, using the information we get from pause screens and the fact that Void Termina's roar is literally just a slower version of Kirby's voice, there's a pretty good chance Void Termina is actually related to Kirby.
I had a feeling. I was like, especially once I saw that it turned into his face, I was like, wait a second. I'm piecing it together.
With the game heavily,
because it's, yeah, like literally the same shape as him too. Well, at least Kirby's a good one, or a dumb one at least.
Alluding to the fact that if Void Termina was born using purely positive energy, he could very well end up looking a lot like our titular Pink Puff rather than a dark monstrosity. Like, and on that note, taking all of that into consideration, not only does this game pretty much spell out the origin of dark matter, but from the information we're given, Kirby himself may very well be the outcome of Void being birthed with pure positive energy.
Okay, yeah, so it's like the origin of Kirby as well. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. I guess he would be born from like positive energy. I wonder if he could get like corrupted though or something. Let's make it darker. Let's go darker. You know, sewer slide, a man becoming a shell of himself and fusing with a robot and you killing him. Like, that wasn't dark enough. Let's go the Kirby evil route.
Himself may very well be the outcome of Void.
I guess it makes sense why Kirby's so OP as well, you know what I mean?
Being birthed with pure positive energy. So there you have it, right? All of Kirby lore wrapped up nicely with an Elder God.
That was a lot.
Well, not just yet. Because after Void Termina was defeated, Highness would fall into a dimensional rift, absorbing all the dark energy Void left behind and encasing himself in yet another Jamba Heart. So in turn, once Kirby releases him and defeats him in his
kind of surprised he didn't just like die, but cool, whatever.
Corrupted state, the three mage sisters who've also been corrupted challenge Kirby as well, leading to him both.
Girls, are you serious? Are you being for real right now? He sacrificed you. Like, you're challenging Kirby? He saved your ass!
Three mage sisters who've also been corrupted challenge Kirby as well, leading to him.
Okay, they got corrupted. Never mind. That makes sense then.
Their Jamba Heart. So in turn, once Kirby releases.
I forgot about that because there's just like so much lore being dumped. It's hard to catch every single little thing.
Leading to him both defeating them again and purifying them with a friend heart, finally resolving the hatred that had plagued them for so long. In fact, this is honestly a pretty happy ending in Kirby terms, what with there being no dead dads and no dead crushes. Plus, in a completion picture for the mode, it seems like even Highness has finally begun returning to his old ways, relaxing with the three mage sisters on a beach. But wait just a second, since while Highness seems to have finally found peace within himself.
That's such a cute screenshot. Aw, look at him. He's just a little guy. I love Kirby. He's so cute.
There's one more looming entity I haven't touched on. If you thought the
That's nice, though. I kind of shocked that it was a happy ending, or it seems like it for now, at least.
Within himself, there's one more looming entity I haven't touched on. If you thought the lore around Void Termina was convoluted, then oh boy, you haven't seen anything yet. So okay, in Star Allies, there's a what-if mode called Guest Star Allies, where it depicts what would happen if one of Kirby's friends confronted Highness instead of Kirby himself. And like always, it's only the finale itself that really has any noticeable changes, since instead of fighting Void Termina, Highness instead decides to open up an interdimensional portal, once again releasing Galactonite onto the world. Except things don't go
always shows up, man.
How they usually do this time. Instead, a familiar butterfly lands on the tip of his sword, completely absorbing Galactonite's immense power and creating Morphonite, a mysterious warrior whose design actually originated from the cancelled Kirby GameCube game. So as cool Cool and completely random as Morpho Knight is, let's touch on that butterfly.
Yeah, I was like, what is up with that butterfly, dude? Just became OP.
For a second, because I'm not joking when I say it's literally been with Kirby all along. Wow,
What? Oh my god. Were they planning that from the beginning? It's like, surely not, but man, that's wild.
Specific orange one has only appeared in every mainline game since Return to Dreamland.
Okay.
Butterflies in general have been appearing alongside Kirby ever since the very first game.
Because I could see it just being like, oh, it was like cute to put in butterflies, and then eventually they were like, oh, well, this could actually be like plot relevant, you know what I mean? It'd be wild though if it was from like the very, very beginning, you know?
Meaning
oh
a being capable of absorbing the actual strongest warrior in the galaxy has been with us this whole time. Now I know what you're saying. What in the actual hell is even happening anymore with Kirby lore? And honestly, for this one, I share your sentiment. As of now, Morpho Knight and the nature of the butterfly are mostly shrouded in mystery.
We have to fight the butterfly civilization. It's probably, I just assumed it was that one butterfly though.
The only real information about them being the fact that the butterfly is a supposed being of paradise, and that Morpho Knight is associated with a judgment day of sorts, meaning Morpho Knight is somehow related to the Kirby afterlife? Absolutely insane, I know. So well, that's about it, or at least it is for now. To be honest, there's no telling what Hal has in store for us next. Hell, for all we know, Yin Yarn could somehow end up being the key to everything. You really never know. But anyways, ranting like a madman about Kirby lore for so long has given me an appetite. How about some strawberry shortcake?
Oh,
now I know
I was like, is the strawberry shortcake gonna be something? Did you know the strawberry shortcake had an eye in it? That means it was really dark matter the whole time. Oh god, for a second I thought I was leading to that. That was a good video. Oh my god, that was so much. God, that really did get like surprisingly dark in places. I mean, like, I really did feel like I forgot that I was even watching like a Kirby lore video for a while, especially since a lot of the dark parts had to do with like, you know, the villains of the series like Heartman or the Three Sisters. But yeah, it was getting pretty wild towards the end there with like the origin of Kirby and then the freaking butterfly, dude. Oh my god, that was wild. But yeah, let me know in the comments what you guys think of Kirby lore. Please do leave a like and a comment and subscribe if you did enjoy this video. And also, once again, big shout out to RPGMonger. This was a really informative video. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know if there's any other videos you would like me to react to as well. I am kind of wanting to get into the hang of reacting to more stuff since it seems like you guys enjoy it. But yeah, once again, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you real soon.